Hello, everyone. Irish Warlock here, and welcome. And today, it's a good day because today we are reacting to the Dragon Age: The Veilguard official gameplay reveal. And oh my god, I love it so much. I've already seen it. This went live around 4 o'clock today in Ireland, which is literally when I was leaving work. I was watching it on my phone as I was walking into the Lewis, which is the tram in Dublin, and then I was watching it the rest of the way home. So, like, I literally left work. I was just like walking while on my phone like this, and just being like, God, I hope no one's ahead of me. I crash into. Thankfully, the area was pretty quiet. It's not like I work near a train station or anything. But yeah, I'm gonna watch this. This is like the third time I've watched it, so I'm like, I like it. I don't know what I'm saying. I like it. I really, really like it. It's really good. My plan is I'm gonna watch it through. I'll give my opinions and comments here and there, and every once in a while I'll pause it to talk about what's on screen. Afterwards, I'll give my own opinions and thoughts, and then there's a Eurogamer article which I haven't read, which I thought we could go through. I'll talk about that, and then we'll end things off. And yeah, that'll be today's video. Let's get going. Okay, so this is obviously very early game, but it has been edited for basically to avoid spoilers and obviously make it a bit more
I hope
interesting
Nev's as
for a
good at
demo.
finding people as you claim.
She's the best damn detective I've ever
Just
met.
gonna turn the
If
volume
she
down a
says
little
she's
bit for
got a lead
myself.
on Solus, I believe her.
Oh, hello, Minrathos. You look so cool, and this
Need to be
game looks
more of a
so
hurry
pretty.
to get out of here.
We don't want to look conspicuous. Just get out of here nice and casual. Find Nev Gallus and stop Solus.
The dwarf there, but dressed in Tevinter garb, showing like how the dwarves are so close with Tevinter. Okay, stop it here first. So we're in Minrathos. We can see the Minrathos Circle. That's the big floating building there, which is also kind of like a government building. So we saw there where we're passing that beggar who was just there, right where it says backstory. We saw the X button pop up. So this is being captured on a PlayStation. Like, this looks lovely for a PlayStation. I imagine the Xbox is going to look the same. PC will probably look a little bit better, and mods will probably keep it going for a while longer afterwards. But yeah, for a PlayStation game, this looks nice. It's obviously not the cartoony way that some people were complaining the trailer looked like. It's not hyper realistic either. It kind of looks like just they took Dragon Age Inquisition and then just pushed it as far forward as technology allowed, which I think makes a lot of sense. Simple like that. So we're playing a rogue. Backstory, Shadow Dragons. So yeah, you have a few backstories to choose from, including like Grey Wardens, Antivan Crows, Shadow Dragons, who are a Tevinter organization, an anti-slavery Tevinter organization, and custom appearance. So it says yeah, like it's there's no default appearance like Hawk or Shepherd. So I don't know why they put that in. Yeah, these texts do not appear in game, obviously.
You still think you can talk him down before he starts his big ritual?
That ritual is going to tear down the veil. The only thing separating us from the Fade and an endless number of demons. I have to talk him down.
I love the spotlight effect here.
Wait! But I didn't do anything!
Get down.
Are they after us? Is it because of the bar?
Word travels fast in Minrathous.
We've got to help her.
We don't have time to get arrested, especially.
So this obviously takes place. It's the start of the game, and judging by how it looks or what they're saying about it there after the bar, I'm actually going to pause it there because we're going to talk about other stuff. But it's saying like after the brawl in the bar. That's from the trailer that came out the other day, and I guess that is literally the start of the game. Maybe we make our character that or after that, and that's how Varric and Harding meet Rook, and now I guess Harding's gone on to scout, and we're going to go meet her afterwards. And whatever happened in the bar, like it's caused an onward ripple effect, essentially. And we can see Solus's ritual is starting. He's tearing the veil open, which isn't going to be good. And that doesn't sound good.
Crap.
We're too late.
The ritual started. But if we hurry, we can We'll stop Solus before it finishes.
You can
Let's
try.
go.
I doubt it'll work.
Harding's this way. She'll get us to Dumont Plaza. Watch out!
Okay, so we got our first demon there, a fiery demon, but bipedal. Like maybe it's a redesign of the rage demon. If it is, I'm gonna miss the big like lava boys, but it still looks really, really cool.
Is Solus summoning demons on purpose?
My guess is the veil is weakening, and they're slipping through the cracks.
And when the veil comes down completely?
And the whole world is
Now we
going
do
to
know
look
this is a
lot
pride
like
demon. The pride demon's got a bit of a redesign, and I love it. Of course, the Devinter Circle is fighting back.
Come on, this
I
way.
love this
You can
kind of
get
like
us
the
to
neon
Harding.
lights from the magic and like the spotlights and the shots coming in. I like that, into Winter, magic is indistinguishable from technology. Like without technology, because they have magic, they haven't had a need to advance technology. And
You're
there's
safe
everyone's
now.
favorite.
Get inside and bar the door as quick as you can, okay?
Thank you, miss.
Harding, you all right?
I've been doing what I can to help.
Hero of the
The
Inquisition,
ritual
damn
must
right.
be weakening the veil. There are a lot of scared people out here.
And a lot of demons. Haven't seen this many come through the Fade in years.
What about you two? Are you okay?
Okay, we got the character wheel coming back, and same as last time, it's got the little symbols like popping up to give you an idea of what
We're
kind of
good,
tone you're giving
but we
off.
need to move.
Agreed. Solus isn't waiting.
Good.
Neither can
I
we.
really liked that in
We got
Inquisition
idea.
and
Right
Dragon
over
Age
there.
2.
Where's Nev Gallus? Wasn't she at the meeting point?
The Venatori got to her first. They grabbed
Playing
her
a
before we
rogue,
arrived
but
and
we've got a
handcuffed the bar
sword.
owner to keep it quiet.
So we're not
I'm
bound
not
by the
surprised
old
our
weapon
detective
system
did
from
something
Dragon
to
Age
get
2 and
yourself a
Inquisition where
call to
rogues
the
have to use
murderous Guild
daggers at
mages,
range.
but their timing
It's like a
stinks.
little bit different now, which I
The bar
really,
owner
really
said
like.
The Venatori took Nev to Dumont Plaza. Can you get us there, Harding?
Rook, you're with the Shadow Dragons. I figured you'd know Minrathis better than I do.
Some unique
Sure, but
dialogue
Minrathis
because
is
of our
huge,
backstory
and this
choice,
is
which is
nowhere
good.
near my neighborhood. I can
Makes
try.
them feel
Don't
unique
worry,
and real in the
scouting's
world,
my
not just,
specialty.
this like
Follow me.
tacked on choice that doesn't matter.
Eyes up. We've got company.
I wonder, 'cause we don't see these guys' names, they're just called
Here they
demons.
come.
Unless I missed it when I was watching it on my phone, because my phone was really tiny and I couldn't obviously see everything. But I wonder, like, are these just redesigns of pre-existing demons? Like, are these meant to be shades or something, or something different, something new? Love there as well that he's just swapping between bow and sword because you play most Dragon Age games, you don't really do weapon swapping like that. If you're sword and shield, that's it. If you're two-handed, that's it. You don't really have the option to swap in and out unless like you do a respec of your character, which
I think that's the
I
last
never
one.
did.
Good.
So it's nice
Let's
to see that
get
you
to
can
Dumont
easily
Plaza
swap it.
and
Oh,
find
the
Nev.
rat swarm.
Patch yourselves up if you need it.
Yeah, there's the potion, and there, get a fresh potion there. But I love that you can just swap in and out of a melee and ranged style. Gives a bit of variety. Okay, and this goes back to my earlier point that
If
like
Solus tears down the veil, doesn't
magic,
that destroy
magic has
everything?
replaced
Someone's
technology because
always
magic
talked about how
exists.
beautiful the
Technology
ancient
doesn't.
world was.
It's doing everything that
That
magic
world existed before the
Magic is
veil
doing
and
everything that
wonderfully
technology should. I'm gonna pause it 'cause, sorry, I'm getting all muddled up in my head here. But like, because magic is around, they don't advance technological wise, so they're able to magically project, make their city floats, or have these neon lights to kind of as street signs or for businesses. Because magic is so common, it's a really good trope that I really, really like. I run a game of D&D for some friends, and that's how I treat magic in like the world. That technology doesn't really advance that far, and why would it when you've got magic? And that's actually one of the themes I've got going in my game right now is the new advancement of technology over magic, and that's something that's got hinted out like a little bit in the Dragon Age series. Like in Dragon Age Awakening, you have the two dwarven brothers, and one of them's like really obsessed with explosives, and you're like, why make explosives? We've got magic, and the guy's like, not everyone has magic. And then in Inquisition, it's you can talk to like a doctor who's like, yeah, we've got healing magic, but why should we rely on that? Like, let's find out ways to like heal the body ourselves without magic, using like poultices and potions and surgery. Now, I think she references like drilling a hole in someone's head to get rid of a fever, which did happen, but is not that good. But I'm liking here that we're seeing here in Tevinter, because it makes sense for Tevinter, being a very big magic society, that magic is just everywhere and it's making life like the place looks, I suppose, like not maybe from like a living standard. Obviously, if you're living there, it seems pretty bad. It seems a bit totalitarian, but just like from the quality of what's available and what's around, it's so much better than what's in Ferelden or Orlais or Kirkwall. So yeah, I'm really glad we get to explore Tevinter. But anyway, back. Oh, you're screwed.
Even if his ritual kills us all in the process.
And we know, because I'll say it now in a second,
Venatori cultists!
Venatori are back. So I thought in that
I hate these
trailer, the guys
assholes.
fighting in the bar, fighting hard in the barrack, I thought they were Venatori, although they didn't look like the Venatori, but now, yeah, confirmed. Venatori are still around and still causing problems.
Looks like
I
the
did not know you
Venatori
could
put
do
up
that.
a barrier to block
I did not see you could actually do that the first time I watched it. That is brilliant. I love when you can knock people off ledges, just like a quick, I'm done with you, get lost.
the way.
Yeah, Venatori are around. Barriers we can take down.
Avenge our fallen brethren!
I really like the combat. Like, it's nothing like Origins 2 or Inquisition, which I don't really care about because Dragon Age has changed its combat, like, with every single game. I do think this feels like maybe a cross between Inquisition and 2, with like a little bit more of a modernization in it. I know they said like God of War was a comparison point for them when developing the game, so I think this has a bit of a God of War vibe to it, which I really
Come
like.
on. Guess we're sliding down.
Jeez, I've got hiccups, but I'm trying to keep them in.
They're allies of Neb Gallus! Kill them all!
Okay, so we've got our character wheel here. So from what I understand, we're not going to be able to control our companions like in the other Dragon Age games. It's going to be like Mass Effect where you give orders and such. I like it enough in Mass Effect, so it's not a big deal for me. I would have liked to have been able to control companions and maybe give a bit more like tactical overlay that you could in Origins, but in the end it's a negative for me, but it's not so much a negative that I actually care, if that makes sense. But yeah, I like this kind of weapon wheel overlay. So, let's use my mouse. So obviously, our power is here at the bottom, and then our two companions here. And I'm assuming we can just like move the cursor with the analog stick or with the mouse and just be like, hey, do this, do this, do this. And we can assign what they are. So I doubt, obviously, we're not just going to have three for each. There's probably a lot more, and we can decide what is what. I wonder what this top one up here is for. I do wish maybe there was more, like there was another one here and here. And maybe like the top three was for us as well, just so we had more on hand rather than just the nine that's available. But maybe maybe like I said, this is celerity. Maybe that has been changed. Maybe it will get changed. Maybe it's like a skill or a perk you pick up as the game progresses that you can have more abilities to choose from. But in the end, if it's only three for each, I don't care that much because I love everything else about this so much more. Right, so Rook is a rogue, but you can throw these electrical things at people, like these static charges they're called. I didn't see, I know it pops up again, so I'll try and read it the next time, but I didn't see it pop up like
The Venatori owned these
what it was, so I don't think it's a spell, obviously, because Rook is a rogue and that's not how magic works in this world. Maybe they're items, like maybe they're like a magical artifact you can just throw at them. There's also a bar building up there on the bottom. I wonder what that does.
Venatori, take your revenge!
Oh, but it dropped when we got hit. Obviously, oh, there's a limit break like ability, so that must be it. Okay, fires two bullets, each dealing damage independently but traveling along the same path. Okay, and applies weaken. So no skill, or sorry, no like lore. I imagine though, yeah, they're meant to be more items you're throwing, not actual spells that you're doing, unless something happens later on. Like like we do get magic abilities later on, like the mark in Inquisition. Maybe So like regardless of whether you're a warrior or a rogue, you still get some kind of like very basic magical ability. So yeah, maybe these are magic, but we just get them later in the game. But for the demo, they're being shown off early. Just my theory. And they apply some sort of weakened effect. So I suppose we can read what the weakened effect actually is when we get our hands on the game. Okay, here we have Nev Gallus. She is one of our companions. She is a returning character.
Not the worst timing.
She was in Winter Nights and the Missing comics, and that's how
So
she
good to
knows
see you.
Varric
Thought
and
the
Harding.
Venatori had kidnapped you.
So it's nice to see that our
They thought the same
companions,
thing.
at least some of them, know each other
A lot of
before
Venatori in the
the
city
game
have
starts. I
reason to
really like that they
hate me.
actually
Figured
have a
they'd play
connection
along.
with each other. They're not just a bunch of randos who
Score this time.
ended up together.
Then the
They're actually
sky
like,
started raining
they have at least some
demons.
sort of connection to
So I
each
got
other.
the job.
Appreciate it. Rook, this is Nev Gallus, our local expert. She's gonna help us find Solus. Nev, meet Rook. Both of you have done some work for the Shadow Dragons.
Isn't that a coincidence?
Some old friends said if I was working in
I don't think she's
Tevinter,
a
the
shadow dragon, but she's a
Dragons are
private
worth
investigator
trusting.
who just works with them sometimes.
We haven't got a lot of time. Varric said you had a lead on Solus?
You get right to the point. I haven't seen Solus in person, but I did find hints of
I
old
love her
magic,
whole design.
similar
It's
to
so
elevated
cool.
elven ruins.
She's got an ice mage is what she was called, but she's got like the
I
frosty
traced
blue
it to the
hair.
building beneath Our Lady of Victory.
Her whole design does remind me a bit of Jill from Dragon Age Inquisition, or
Then let's go.
from Final Fantasy
Before this
16, I should
ritual
say.
he's
It
doing gets any worse.
doesn't look like it, just
Worse.
reminds me of it.
This ritual's already drawing more power than I'd expect from a dozen mages. You told me he was working alone.
I also told you he was an ancient elven god.
Yeah,
Elven God.
he's got a bit more kick than your average mage.
Whatever he is, he's causing trouble in my city. Let's go.
All citizens in the canal district must remain in their homes.
Okay, so obviously this is the opening section of the game, but it is jumping forward, cutting out bits of this gameplay so we can, so we don't get spoiled.
Well, we're not in Minrathous anymore.
No,
I
you're
know
not.
these trees. This is Arlathan
It's a big
Forest.
alluvian, and they're in
There's
Arlathan,
your
so
ritual. The power
already
it
jumping
holds.
around quite a
Never
bit.
seen anything like it.
So you can see from, we'll go here, maybe that wasn't the best, hang on, I'll jump back.
I've never seen anything like
Right,
it.
so you can see each of these statues has a different headpiece on them, each one then representing one of the different elven gods. I think this guy up here in the moon, I believe that's Elgarnon. Fortunately, I'm not as well versed in the elven gods as I would like, but I do plan on doing lore videos as the summer goes on, so you know, this is stuff we'll go into before the release of Veilguard. So yeah, so this is where Solus is obviously doing his ritual, and
The tremors are getting worse.
we got more demons coming in.
And we've got demons.
With some of them being different colors, so maybe either different types of attacks or just different strengths. This one's blue, so maybe it's going to be ice or lightning, either one. Okay, so you can see in the bottom there where the arrows are, just by where the abilities are in the middle of the screen. You fire them, your thing drops, but then they do start replenishing, so arrows aren't collected, they are just an automatic resource you have, which is good. I liked that addition in... Was it in Dragon Age 2? I never played a range character in Dragon Age 2, I think, so it was definitely like that in Inquisition, though. Which
I
is
thought the demons were
good.
bad back in Minrathous.
The Fade's a mess this close to the ritual. No telling what could come through.
It's interesting he's doing the ritual all the way in Arlathan, but it's spreading so far, because Minrathous and Arlathan, like,
Keep moving and try not to
they're
think about it.
close-ish, but they're not, like, right beside each other. Okay, team battles way deeper into Arlathan, until they arrive at Solus's ritual site. And here we have our first boss fight. So yeah, this is meant to be the opening of the game. So obviously, this is the boss fight to end it all.
This demon quickly.
He's I'm gonna close it again. So he's obviously got the two health bars, so a health bar and a barrier bar or shield, so that'll probably drop, but then jump up as it passes on if you don't keep like on top of him. I much prefer this version of the Pride Demon already than the other one. Like, the Pride Demons are meant to be the strongest demons, and yeah, they were powerful in the other games, but they just felt like big hulking brutes that just kind of went around and hit you with the occasional, like, AoE attack. But this feels like a real threat. Like, this feels incredibly dangerous. And you see, you got a quick recover ability there that Rook used when he got knocked down. I wonder if that's natural or is that just like a rogue ability? Like, will mages have something different and will warriors have something different as well, or will they all be able to do that quick recover? I feel all this jumping around is rogue abilities, and that mages will maybe have their own like quick blink ability, while warriors like have a block or like a hold firm ability where you don't lose as much damage, but like you don't get out of the way. Like, I was probably gonna play mage first, but just watching this makes me think I might go rogue for my first playthrough. Rogue's the usual one I don't play the most of. Like, I'm usually mage vast majority of the time, and then warriors the others. So it's really, really good. I want to see this limit break hit max. Like, and it's down.
Everyone all right?
Good enough. Let's get to Solus.
There he is at the center of it all, with his statues right beside him. I love the design of the Elven architecture. It still looks the same as it's done across all games. Probably closest to Inquisition, but that's maybe just, console graphical power more than anything else. But like, the overall design, at least from the familiar aspects, hasn't changed.
Are you sure?
Positive. You three just keep the demons off me while I talk to him.
Varric, Solus isn't gonna stop just because an old friend asks nicely.
Solus needs someone to sell him another option, to help him justify changing his mind.
Yeah, but you have another option.
Come on,
Okay, so that
Varric.
obviously affects
We didn't
the
come all this way just to talk to
approval
him.
and disapproval, so good to see that
He
that
was
is
my friend,
returning.
Rook. I gotta try to reach him.
I wonder like how
But if he won't
big
listen to
those
me,
choices would have mattered
then he'll hear
if
from
it,
beyond
if this
the-
is the opening of the game, which it is, not if this is the opening of the game. I can't imagine the choices are too massive, at least not like ones like this in the middle. Maybe at the end choice matters the most, but this one's a bit more
Take care of the team for me.
simple, let's say.
Hey, Chuckles. Hope I'm not interrupting.
Oh, not that much. Right, well, there he is, the man himself, but all I want to look at is this dagger in his hand, because if you remember, at the end of the companion reveal trailer, you see the whole gang plus your rook in the middle holding that dagger. So my guess is after this opening section, you somehow get your hands on that dagger, and that dagger is very, very important because that dagger was also the desktop icon for when the game went as Dragon Age Dreadwolf. It has changed now, but when it was Dreadwolf, that dagger was the icon. So obviously that dagger is important. It must be like the story-based MacGuffin for the whole plot. Like maybe it's how we fix what Solus is about to do. It's a bit surprised to see Varric.
Let's buy buy him some time.
we can change between like melee and range at a will. I wonder if Harding and the other companions can as well. Like, I hope I can make a melee-based Harding as well. Like, I know some companions feel certain ways. Like, I always play Sarah and Liliana as range, and I always play Cassandra and Aveline as like sword and shield. But I really, really hope that we can, yeah, have a bit of variety because like bow and arrow is Harding's whole thing, but I would like to see her as a or as a melee character as well, just for a bit of variety, a bit of fun, something to do on the second or third playthrough, or the eighth or ninth playthrough, or whatever.
The veil is a wound inflicted upon this world. It must be healed.
Oh, his voice is so cool.
World in demons?
I have taken precautions to minimize the damage, Varric.
You obviously haven't seen Minrathos, mate.
People are dying.
Or maybe he just
right
doesn't
now.
care about Minrathos.
You need to listen.
Oh, and here comes the heartbreaking moment.
Please.
Thousand Dragon Age fans scream out in pain. Oh, well, at least he didn't kill Varric, because when I was watching this, that's what I thought was going to happen. I was like, oh god, not while I'm like sitting on a crowded tram with a bunch of random people around me.
Do you want me to take the shot?
Won't work. He's too powerful.
What if we disrupt the ritual?
How?
See those statues? If we break the scaffolding holding that one up, the whole thing will come down on Solus.
It's risky. Interrupting a ritual of this scale will have consequences.
And what about the demons? Varric needs us to hold them off.
Right, you two stay here. I'll bring down the statue.
What? No. Stepping into all that raw magic is suicide.
The storm could tear you apart.
Anyone got a better idea?
Fine, but you'll need backup. I'm with you.
I'm a mage. I'll go.
Either way, someone needs to stay back and deal with the demons.
Okay, decisions will impact your companions. Right, so choices will have some sort of impact on our companions when it relates to them, or just choices in general. I'm assuming that means other than just approval and disapproval. I'm assuming it means like potential conflicts can arise in certain ways. Uh, I have a theory about that, but we'll talk about that at the end.
Let's go, Hardy. Nev, keep the demons off us.
You got it.
Could've brought female Llewellyn with him. Maybe then things would have worked out well. He might have been able to talk him down. I liked his exploration as well, like the kind of walking on the beams, the climbing over stuff, breaking of like objects and the environment around you to advance the story and stuff. Like I like that it's not just a simple linear path like it is in previous games. Like there's actually a little bit of movement and variety in your movement.
Years ago. Do you believe that I would do this if there was some other better option?
I think you just can't see another option because he's so set on this one.
We need to push it!
I'm with you!
Together! Now! You came a long way and made a valiant effort, Varric, but this story does not end
He's
with
literally
my
cutting the
downfall.
veil open and it's so cool. Just that facial expression there when he gets shocked when he sees the things coming down, like, this is a gorgeous game. Like, I really cannot say it's not. And so, it's just so freaking strong. Dun dun dun. And that was the gameplay reveal. I love it so much. It's so good. I'm so happy with this. I've seen some people online and in comments and in the live chat being like, "Oh, it doesn't look great, it look shit." I don't care. First, I don't even believe half of you when you even say that. I'm sure some people actually do not like it by how it looks, and that's fine if you don't. But I'm sure also a lot of them are just trolls trying to get some sense of enjoyment out of their life. But oh my god, I think that's great. I've seen a lot of praise for it online as well in the comments on Twitter, on the people I am following. Like, it is so great to see that this is so good and being received so well, because I think, oh, the team who worked on it definitely deserve it. Right, let's go back and look at that last shot for a second. Like, look at Solus there. I don't think he was expecting this. I think everyone, myself included, thought, oh, he's going to release the Evanurus. They're going to bring back the old world of, like, the elven culture and restore the elven people. And he's just taking a risk on them. I don't think that's what he intended. I think he intended to open up the veil just enough to let magic and the Fade and spirits back in, but thought he could maybe keep the Evanurus on the other side. And I think this, like, expression he has here is him like, oh hell, I've messed up. What have I done? So that's why I think one of the reasons why they did take away the name Dreadwolf, because I think this ends Solus's villain arc here. Either this is going to be his death, or he's going to try to redeem himself throughout the story. We'll see how it goes. But I think after this, Solus is no longer a villain. One way or the other, the Dreadwolf is no longer our concern after this moment. Maybe not though. Maybe he like plays a secondary antagonist, or maybe he's trying to do the same thing as us in saving the world, but just trying to do it in his own way as the story progresses. Suppose we'll see. Now, okay, so obviously, definitely two of the Evanurus are back. My guess was two. I thought three could also be a possibility, but I did guess two, so I'm kind of happy to see that that was my guess. I imagine their whole goal will be to try and let the others out, or maybe not. Like, the Lord will say they fought amongst themselves a lot, so they might just be happy to be the ones on top. But who are they? So we've got the guy who's kind of got these weird horns on his right hand side. I'm going to Google something. I will be back in a second. Okay, so the one on the right could be Falandin, because in Dragon Age Origins you could find statues that were supposedly Falandin, and they looked like they had that horn part here, which I think everyone thought were horns, but maybe it's just like a headdress part of their design. Could be Elgarnon as well, though. Hang on, let me see if I can find Elgarnon. Right, so I have no statues of Elgarnon, but there is this mask looking thing here. And that looks like the part here, like the horns here. So maybe this is Elgarnon. Elgarnon would make more sense. He's the leader, the king, the main elven god. So yeah, this obviously makes sense that this is in fact Elgarnon. Who or what is this thing? That is the thing. I'm like, what the actual hell? I think this is Gillinando, because to me, she always seems like the most likely. Inquisition had a lot of lore about Gillinan, not in the story or in quests. It was just stuff you'd find throughout the world. But they seem to try and flesh out Gillinan a lot in Inquisition. So it makes sense that she would be here. She's also, yeah, it's just such a weird design. I think that one could be any of them. But yeah, I think that is meant to be Gillenan. My gut would say Gillenan, but I don't have any evidence to the contrary right now. Oh, hang on, no, wait, she's got this thing, this kind of upside down moon, yeah. And like another concept art in one of the older trailers where it's got Solus, or it's got the Dreadwolf right in the middle, it's got the two elven gods on either side, and they have this kind of the horns and the crescent moon. So which one was the crescent moon? Was that Elgarnon? Oh, sorry, was that Gillenon? Okay, back to back to Dragon Age Wiki, and I'll be with you in a second. My gut still says it is Gillenon, but I think it could also be Andrul, because Andrul's Valicine, which is the Dalish tattoos they get, it's a bow just above like the eyes. So maybe that's what it's a nod to. Like, the Dalish draw it as a bow because obviously that's like the way of the bow is big in their culture. But originally it started off as this kind of crescent moon for Andrul. Yeah, I'm definitely Elgarnon. maybe Andrul or Gillenan. I wanted to say Gillenan to start, but now I'm saying Sugar. I'm saying Andrul just because of that curve. But we'll see when the game comes out. Like we've got it's autumn, so we've got maybe about 4 months, give or take. I'm not going to wait that long. But right, that is the whole gameplay. As I said, I really, really like it. The combat looks fun, engaging. It's different than the other ones, which I like. It keeps the story fresh and a bit of variety. Bit bummed that the kind of tactical part is a bit more trimmed down, and we're not going to be able to control our companions, it seems. But like, it's still a Bioware thing. It's the Mass Effect part, which I don't mind. I think that if they removed it altogether and like you couldn't command or interact with them in combat at all, then I would actually be quite annoyed about it. But the fact there is still something there. I'm quite happy with that. I think that's good. Right, we're going to look at the Eurogamer article and then we're going to wrap things up. Okay, so that was the gameplay. Really, really good. Loved it to bits. I hope all of you did too. But now we're going to do a quick run through this. So, Whisper it. But Dragon Age the Veilguard has me thinking the unthinkable. It looks like Bioware is back. Damn right, baby. The lesson was get back to what you do well. Yeah, that sounds like what they're doing. Right, so first, this picture here. I just want you to look at Tash here. And she's dual wielding either axes or hammers. And it looks like Rook is doing the same with a sword here and a sword there. I'm hoping this means there's more just variety in how we use weapons. So it's not just daggers are dual wielding, but main weapons are dual wielding, and it's just a little bit of something different, back to the way it was in Origins. Right, start with the negative. Let's get all the negative stuff out of the way. One, I'm not sure about the new name. Dragon Age Dreadwolf was much cooler than Dragon Age the Veilguard. That's fair. I do like Veilguard. I wish the word the was gone and it was just Dragon Age Veilguard, but I still like it. And that's the only negative it seems. Okay, now we've got those negatives out of the way. On to the positive. After an extended hands-off demonstration of Dragon Age the Veilguard's first hour, so we got the abridged 20-minute version, I can say with some confidence the video game looks fantastic. Good to hear. Good to hear. The combat looks like a blast. It does. The writing is cheesy, but deliciously cheesy. It's a fantasy game. It's going to be cheesy. That's how they work. Uh, I'm voicing my own D&D character out loud. Yeah, that's actually kind of the vibe I get. That makes a good bit of sense. The character creator is vast, good. There are dialogue wheels and skill trees and waves of we hear you response to fan requests. That is good. I'm glad they listened to the fans with this one and they took some stuff on board. I imagine the community council that had like Ash Lady Insanity and Gilderthallen on it helped a lot. I'm so glad they actually reached out to fans, and I hope other developers start doing this, realizing, yeah, it's okay to let some fans see behind the scenes and to get their opinions. You don't have to listen to every single opinion, you don't have to implement every single one, but just listen to the ones that are being offered to you. And it is utterly gorgeous. The first, oh, where did I go? The first hour, a luxurious nighttime romp through a crumbling city under a mix of twinkling starlight and lavish midnight blue. I have one or two questions that remain unanswered, but as far as hands-off demonstrations go, this is about as confident as they get. That is brilliant to hear. Deep breath though, and into the specifics. What we saw in the demo was a full walkthrough of the game's entire first hour, beginning what seemed like an excellent character creator. Yeah, you're definitely going to be spending more on character creator. Come on. Here, given 5 categories to work your way through: lineage, appearance, class, faction, and playstyle. Each with a range of subcategories within them, such as 8 subcategories within the head subcategory of your appearance. Wow! So there's a lot of customization, it seems. Um, I'm gonna just keep going because I assume he'll go into details of what they are, and I don't need to play the guessing game. Lineage dictates things like your race, as the usual Dragon Age quartet of elf, Canary, human, and dwarf, as well as your backstory, a long-standing fan request. Backstories include things like factions, some returning, some new. Yeah, so we know Wardens, Antivan Crows, and Shadow Dragons are 3 of your factions, and I believe, not confirmed, but there was a post on the Discord that kind of gave a hint that it was Veil Jumpers, Lords of Fortune, and the Morn Watch from the Mortalitasi are the other 3, which offer 3 distinct buffs, Each? Okay, so you get like maybe like damage resistances or stuff like that. Like being able to hold an extra potion or do extra damage against certain enemies and the odd reference in dialogue. Cool, which we saw when you met up with when Rook met up with Neve, that they kind of reference, yeah, you both have worked with the Shadow Dragons, and that extra damage. I imagine Wardens do more damage to Darkspawn. There are separate options for binary and non-binary pronouns and gender. Nice, that is so good. I'm so happy that they're including this level of representation in the character creation. I'm so happy to see that. It is brilliant, especially with the diversity that is in the Dragon Age community. It's nice to see that they're reaching out and making sure that everyone has a chance to feel represented in this game. Like I'm he, him, so like I've always been looked after, but it's great to see that other communities are being properly looked after. And a community that probably wanted the most, but dozens and dozens of hairstyles. Yeah, hair sucked in all Dragon Age games, so hopefully this one's better. As Kareem Bush, Veilguard's game director, says, put it during the demo with individual strands of hair rendered separately and reacting quite remarkably to in-game physics. Cool. But that's great to hear that they put like that much detail into like the hair and the appearance and the whole design of the game. That is phenomenal to hear. BioWare's work behind the scene, meanwhile, goes as deep as not only skin tones, but skin undertones, melanin levels, and the way skin reacts to light. Cool. Speaking of which, there are also a range of lighting options within the character creator. Yes, to check how your character looks, which sounds inconsequential. It's not. But as Anya, who left the oddly green cave of Dragon Age Inquisition to find their once handsome character transformed into a walking horror in the light of the overworld will know makes a difference. It does. The amount of times I started a Bioware game and created this great character and then got 2 minutes in and got to my first cutscene or dialogue and just went, hell no. Delete that save, burn it, start a new game. Nothing worse than spending hours fine tuning your character and to get into the first cutscene and you go, oh my god, it looks so sterile in this lighting. Yeah, no worries about that, Bush jokes somewhat pointedly. There's also a full range of body customization options, like a triangular slider between body types and individual settings, down to everything from shoulder width to glut volume. Cool. So I can have like a maybe like a more lithe Kunari or like a really hench bodybuilder style elf. That's cool. And we can see then some rooks. So we got our that's the rook we saw in the gameplay, but he's ranged. And he's got Nev and Tash with him. And this is an elf who is a warrior, and judging by that, is a Grey Warden background and has Emmerich and I'm assuming that's Manfred, or is that just staff? But yeah, that's Emmerich anyway, and Scout Harding with her. That is cool, or with them. I don't know their pronouns. Beyond that, the three standard classes, Warrior, Mage, and Rogue, return good, but within those are three more specializations each, such as Duelist, Saboteur, and Veil Ranger for the Rogue. Interesting. Right, so three specializations. I wonder if it's like in Origins and 2 where you could have two, or if it's in Inquisition where you can only have one. Personally, I hope it's like an Inquisition where you just had one. To me, I preferred that. I preferred the one because it just meant you could do a bit more like role playing. It just felt a bit more important. Interesting enough, Duelist returns from Origins, which is nice to see, but the Assassin is gone, which is very strange because I know the Assassin, at least for me, was a favorite with the Rogue. Although I wonder maybe the assassin skills are still there, but you only get them if you're playing as an Antivan Crow. That would make sense. Then there's playstyle setting, which that include custom distinct difficulty settings for options as granular as parry windows. That means players who might fancy that playstyle but typically struggle with finer points of combat can give it a go. Cool. So it's not just easy, medium, hard, and nightmare, but there's like other stuff too. So you can still have like enemies that are strong and beefy, but are a bit easier to parry if you're not good at parrying. That is good. Make sure that the game is accessible to all. After a somewhat lengthy prologue, the demo saw us take on the duelist subclass of the rogue as protagonist Rook. So I wonder if that was we saw a duelist as well in our video. A narrated intro from Varric laid the groundwork that's with some lore. It's been 9 years since Inquisition. I'm going to assume that means Trespasser. Solus is back and he's a baddie doing baddie things. Then you're off, beginning with a tavern brawl depending on dialogue options and a stroll through the city of Menratos as you search for Neve Gallus. Okay, so Tavern Brawl, yeah, that's definitely the one from the trailer. Maybe we can talk our way out of it depending on our class and our backgrounds. Maybe like they identify you as a Shadow Dragon because we know now they're members of the Venatori. So if you're a Shadow Dragon, they just don't care and they attack you straight away. But maybe as a Warden or a Crow, you can talk your way out of it. Cool. That's very cool though to know that. Like, yeah, even that early on in the game, there's a nice variety of gameplay options available. Minrathos is a remarkably beautiful city. Yes, it is, with giant floating statues, floating palaces, orange lantern glow, and green neon of magical runes. Those acting like electricity as occasional signs above pubs and stores. Yeah, as I said, you can still have everything technology gives you just with magic, and it's great to see that that's what Tevinter's like because that would make a lot of sense, especially in Minrathos. Um, it's a stronger style. Creative director John Epler tells me when I ask about the game's art direction, but it's very much in keeping with the rest of Dragon Age. I agree. It's not a massive departure. It's recognizably Dragon Age, and particularly because we're going into parts of the world like the Winter, you see more magic, more color. There's a little bit more vibrancy there, but there's also, as with anything, a lot of darkness. And the thing about the darkness, especially the dark parts of the game, those often contain the biggest spoilers. Cool. I wonder if we do get the option to go back to Ferelden or Orlais or Kirkwall, will they still kind of look the same? And I hope they do, because then it shows, yeah, Thedas is this big, wide, varied place. Contrast is what allows darkness to really breathe. That is true. You cannot make the game 100% dark because then it's not dark anymore. It's just the standard. And you need to make sure there's plenty of light, jovial moments so the dark moments stand out a lot. And something that Dragon Age has had historically. Yes, it has. Everyone's like, Origins is very dark. Origins has a talking, rhyming tree. It is ridiculously light at times. It is the darkest, it is very dark, but it has those really silly, funny moments. When everything is dark, nothing really feels dark. Exactly. And for this one, we really wanted to build that contrast again. And indeed, before long, things took quite a dramatic turn towards the type of city raising action that would typically occur in a Dragon Age late game. As Minrathos comes under attack, yeah, enter Dragon Age Origins, trend of a Dragon Age 2. Cities are being razed and destroyed. Head Veilguard, literally the opening minutes. Into combat then, which in the simplest of terms looks brilliant. The duelist rogue skill set in this case resolves around razor sharp combination of dashes, parries, leaps, rapid slashes, and combos. Yeah, I guess that was the duelist we saw. Right, so we got here. Looks like Arlathan, we've got Emmerich and Bellara and a Kunari Rook. Still in the same armor style, so maybe that's the standard for the beginning, or maybe that is the Shadow Dragon armor. As well as the Grey Warden one we saw just above, she looked very different. Okay, just a nice shot of Arlathan for us with some holla, and by God, this game looks gorgeous. The necropolis in Navarra, I imagine, where the Mortalitasi are from, would make the most sense because we've got Emmerich there and I've forgotten his name. I'm sorry, I have forgotten, but that is the Antivan Crow assassin, and this is from the start of the game because there's the Rook we just saw, Harding, Varric, and Neve. So obviously this is from a part of the demo that got put out for us. The mechanics of the combat involve a mix of real-time action and the series staple pause and play mechanic. Pausing in this case brings up a radial menu split into three sections. Companions to the left and right, yeah, we saw that, and skills around the bottom. The overlap with a system of specific enemy resistance weaknesses and apparently vast but for us still unseen skill tree of unlockable options. You can both explain set up specific companions with certain kits from tackling specific enemy types to being more of a supporting healer. Healing magic is back. Excellent. That I really miss healing magic in Inquisition, as did a lot of people. So that's obviously something that they listened to the fans and brought back. Abilities can be chained together, Bush said, with some apparently elaborate results. The example given was one companion using a kind of gravity well that sucked enemies together, another using slow to hold them all in place, and a new unleashing a big area of effect attack to catch them at once. Nice! I love being able to combo abilities in the other Dragon Age games, so it's great to see that's coming back. In practice, the pulse system in particular looked like a method for players who want a bit of challenge, stopping to think and act tactically. Queue up your whole team of attacks as opposed to sticking entirely in real time. Yeah, I'll be using that a lot. That's something you can generally do, Bush said. thanks to a shortcut system that lets you map a few abilities to the smaller pin menu at the bottom. Yeah, we saw that. Standard standard Dragon Age stuff. Beyond that, there are also specific class resources systems. The rogue has momentum, which builds up as you land consecutive hits. Okay, we saw that. And each always have a range option. Oh, so each class has a range option. That's cool. Okay, so we got hip fire for rogues, and you pop off arrows from the wayside. You get barely concentrating Legolas. Heroes can lob their shields at enemies and build a placeholder on it. So if you want to be Captain America in Thedas, you can be Captain America in Thedas. Nice. As for the game's 7 companions, those include fan favorite Scout Harding and new Neve Gallus. The returning Varric, meanwhile, is more of a special case. Varric is a major character, Epler says, part of the franchise since Dragon Age 2. Varric obviously has a history with Solus. At the end of Trespasser, he's obviously going to try and stop him, and if you read the comics, read The Missing, it's really, really good. You can see he's part of the hunt for Solus and Dreadwolf. Every regular companion is romanceable, and from what I understand, they're romanceable by everyone. Doesn't matter, which is very good. Though there's an emphasis from Byro on making each character's friendship just as meaningful. Romance or no, that's good. And if you don't romance them, well, they may end up romancing each other. That is great to hear. I really, really like that. It is so nice to hear that the characters will like form their own relationships outside of you as a player, which is really good. I love that in like Mass Effect 3 when Tali and Garrus get together, or in Inquisition when Bull and Dorian get together. It's nice to see that they're not just there for you, but they're there for each other as well. Back to the demo, and after some very light platforming amongst more richly detailed parts of the city, it's into a crumbling castle where ancient elf secrets pop up around the place, seemingly just for the lore lords. Yeah, that's me. And after teleport to another locale, the Arlathan Forest, it's time for a mini boss fight with a pride demon. We saw all that, which looks vicious, and then climactic confrontation with Solus, and the closing sequence of the game's remarkably grandiose opening mission that brought the demo to an end. Right, so obviously more stuff we saw there. We guess we leave Minrathos, go to some sort of elven fortress somewhere. Maybe Solus was using. Maybe it's Skyhold, because that was his. Or maybe it's just a fortress in Minrathos that has a lot of elven artifacts there. I suppose we'll see in a few months. One caveat amongst the excitement is worth mentioning, which is the lack of wider context as ever, which kind of limited the overly scripted demo. It's a demo that's going to happen. There's nothing we can do about that. I saw some people complaining in the comments of the demo. Oh, it's so linear. It's the opening section of the game. The opening section of all the Dragon Ages and all the Mass Effects are stupidly linear because you basically play a linear point to learn the game and what's going on, and then it opens up. We don't know the real shape and nature of Dragon Age, the Veilguard overall world, and the wider loop of gameplay that informs your interaction with it. This particular mission felt strictly linear in direction, for instance, and it's worth emphasizing that the broader loop and world structure was one of the key issues with the studio's last major effort, Anthem. Yes. Still, Epler says they have learned lessons there. Yeah, look, I imagine we're going to get more videos as the summer progresses. That's going to have like show you more like mid game stuff where we're in more open areas and are kind of able to move around a bit more freely. I don't think they're going to be as open world as Inquisition, but you know what I mean. Like it's not going to be this linear start here, end here kind of thing. We are a studio that does really well when we do single player RPGs that are based around characters and going back to our strengths. Epler tells me it comes down to knowing what you do well, knowing the things you're experts on, and knowing what you've built your studio to build. Bioware has always been built around single player RPGs, so for us the lesson was get back to what you do well, get back to what you know how to do well, and in case of Dragon Age, get back to what the franchise is known for. Yeah, I get the feeling that's what's going to be like. This is going to be the most Bioware game Bioware has made in a while, and I'm very happy to hear that. Throughout the demo, there was one very clear impression that Bioware really does seem to be back here. Yes, and not just back, but back with a renewed sense of confidence and faith in itself. For all of Veilguard's long and reportedly troubled development, ooh, there has been, and all the issues with Anthem, yes, it was simply an uninterrupted hour of one big, grand, thoroughly AAA video game, one that was also campy, sincere, melodramatic, and potentially ever accomplished. And on the surface, at least, indescribably Bioware true and true. Okay, the grammar for this article was a bit off, and that threw me a bit there at the end. But yeah, we learned some good stuff there. Like, yeah, you've gone through it all there. I'm not going to recap it there, but between the gameplay video and this article and what other bits I've seen online, I'm sure once I turn on Twitter, I'll see a lot more as well that's been shared by the devs. So I say go check out Twitter if you haven't, or maybe go check out the Discord for a slightly nicer place, maybe. But yeah, Veilguard seems absolutely phenomenal, and it seems Bioware is going back to being good old classic Bioware. I do think this will be the most Bioware game that Bioware has made in a while. I'm really happy with this. I'm ecstatic. I'm so happy. I cannot wait to see what they come out with at the end of the year. I think it is a strong contention to be game of the year because yeah, I can't think of anything that could beat it right now. I think it will be my game of the year anyway. I think that's a given for me. Is it going to be the game of the year? No, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is coming out, so maybe it could lose out to that, but I suppose we'll see. But yeah, for me, this is my game of the year anyway. I can already tell. And I'm so happy with how it looks and what we've read here. And I can't wait to learn more about it. And I can't wait to finally get my hands on it and play it because it's been 10 years. Been 10 long years, guys, but we are finally there. But anyway, I hope you've liked my little reaction here. This is going to be how I'm going to try to be doing my channel now going forward as well. Kind of doing more videos like this where less plays until Veilguard comes out and more discussion type videos like this where I will just talk and give my opinion because I think that actually works and I really like doing it. But more importantly, what do you guys think of the video? What do you think of this article? What do you think of everything we've learned today and over the past few days? Were you a bit worried about the trailer, but the gameplay has made you happy? Do you not like the gameplay? And if you have a genuine reason for not liking it, do let me know down in the comments below because I do want to start a bit of a discussion here, see what everyone thinks and what's going on. But I loved it. I think it was great. But anyway, guys, if you like this video, do give it a like and a comment because it will help the channel grow. Don't forget you can check me out on Twitter and on Medium. And of course, you can subscribe to the channel to stay updated on all content going forward, which for the rest of this year will be a whole lot more Dragon Age. And I'll see you all next time.